let's all play What's My Line? And now, from New York, let's meet our What's My Line panel. First, the delightful star of stage and television, Miss Arlene Francis.
And now, excellent actor who is opening tomorrow night in Philadelphia in a new comedy called Ut-Boo. He'll tell us what it means because we don't know, but we know who he is, Tony Randall.
Yes. I'll tell you if you beg. It is a joy to welcome back to What's My Line the crown princess of television games, Betty White.
Thank you, and I'm very happy to introduce the gentleman whose new book, Laugh Day, and a wonderful one, just hit the bestseller list, Bennett, Cerf.
I think you ought to know that our panel moderator is a man of many parts, and one of his sidelines is owning a shipyard. As a matter of fact, he's launched so many ships in the past month that he's now known as Sir Launch-A-Lot. Here he is, Sir John Charles Daly.
I guess the first thing we ought to do is straighten it out. I don't own any shipyards, Bennett. That's a wonderful pun. Actually, in Bennett's book that you heard about, Laugh Day, he has a story that reveals a good deal about his sea career. I think he planned to go in the Navy because he has a story in the book about a training cruise, and he was on the starboard watch, and an officer of the deck came up to him and said, hey, Cerf, what would you do if a sailor was washed overboard? And he'd say, I'd holler man overboard, sir. And he said, that's very good. Now, what would you do if an officer fell overboard? And Bennett said, which one?
I can see it.
No? All right,
One
no.
laid an egg.
Well, it's nice to see you, Betty. And needless to say, Tony, a joy to see you in your place. We have some very interesting occupations, as the season would indicate. We're full of good feelings, you know, very good feelings. And we'll have a famous mystery guest before my friends on the panel a little bit later in the show, but right now, let's meet our first contestant. Will you enter and sign in, please? Bell. Heinrich, is that right, ma'am? Is it Miss or Mrs. Heinrich? And where are you from, Mrs. Heinrich?
El Paso, Texas.
El Paso, Texas. Nice to have you with us. Mrs. Heinrich, may I present the panel? And now will you join me over here, please? And we'll let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. All right. Panel, we can tell you that Mrs. Heinrich is salaried and deals in a service, and I think we'd better begin things with Bennett, Cerf.
Well, Mrs. Heinrich, the two things I remember El Paso for are, one, a huge military installation, and one, there are a great many ranches around there. Have you got anything to do either with the military or with ranch life?
Perhaps.
No, we must have a small conference.
No.
No, that's fine. Thank you very much, Mrs. Heinrich. 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Francis.
Do you deal with human beings in your job, Mrs. Heinrich?
Yes.
Both men and women?
Yes.
May they...
Mr. Heinrich is in the audience.
Mrs. Heinrich, do people come to you for your service?
Yes.
Do you possibly work for a non-profit making organization?
No.
Just a moment. That's right. No is right. 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Randall.
There's no question about it. She does work for a non-profit making organization.
No, does not work for a non-profit.
She
making
works...
organization.
I'm sorry, I'm confused.
She works for a profit.
Works for a profit-making.
She works for a profit-making organization.
That's my fault, the confusion.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
And it's up to me to deconfuse myself, and that will never happen.
Defuse Bennett while
Yes.
you're at it, will you?
Mrs. Heinrich, you resemble, in a general sense, the lady on the cover of Fanny Farmer Candies.
Well, that is a paragon, I must say, among the descriptions.
Yes, and also the
of good
Settlement
mothers.
Cookbook, as I remember my mother's library. Could I rule out anything to do with food?
You might.
I might.
You may.
You may.
You may.
I wish I may, I wish I might. Do you perform your service for animals as well as people?
Sometimes. No.
No, I would not. I would not say so. I would say that if such an occasion would arise, it would be rare and therefore only confusing if we were to give you an affirmative
And of course,
answer.
you wouldn't want to confuse anyone.
I wouldn't want to confuse anybody. All right, Miss Betty White.
Mrs. Heinrich, from the audience reaction when you walked in, I take it this is a rather unusual occupation for you particularly to be involved with. Do you wear something other than your regular clothes?
Yes.
In the performance of your duty?
Yes.
Would this be, as opposed to a uniform, would this be something used to protect yourself, that is a cover-up, rather than just a uniform to designate what you do?
No.
That's 4 down and 6 to go, Mr.
Pretty
Cerf.
fancy question,
Yeah.
but rotten answer.
But we did gather from Miss White's questioning that you do wear a uniform.
Yes.
Do you have anything to do with transportation?
Yes.
What was that?
Transportation.
Thank you.
Do you drive any kind of a vehicle?
Yes.
Don't tell me you operate a bus or something like that.
Yes. I must say, you're all so good, I'm going to give you a credit. I'm going to put all of the cards over. That's very good. Actually, Mrs. Heinrich is employed by the bus line in El Paso, the National City Bus Line, which is privately owned. She's been driving a bus for 23 years, started during the war. Is a great-grandmother. You have
4 great-grandchildren.
4 great-grandchildren. And I just think it's great, because I agree with you, Tony. I think that she epitomizes everything that is wonderful about grandmothers. She's a great-grandmother.
One of those bus lines goes right across the border into Mexico.
Yes,
Do you
that's
drive a bus into...
And a streetcar.
Into Juarez, isn't it?
A trolley.
You drive right into Mexico?
Yes.
Don't you ever get mixed up in those bullfights down there?
Well, thank you very much. It was very nice to have you with us in Washington. And now we meet our next contestant. Will you enter and sign in, please? William T. Smith. All right, Mr. Smith, where are you from?
Big Flats, New York.
Big Flats, New York. What is that near?
Elmira.
Near Elmira. All righty, fine. I think also, panel, as you meet Mr. Smith, I should tell you, I would like to present the panel, tell you that he is a senior at Cornell. We're talking about what is perhaps a avocation by which he helps to support his present activities. Now, if you'll join me over here, Mr. Smith, we'll let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. All right, panel, we can tell you that Mr. Smith is self-employed and deals in a product. And we'll begin the general questioning with Arlene Francis.
Mr. Smith, is it a useful product?
Yes.
Is it used by men and women?
Yes.
Is it used indoors?
Yes.
Is it consumed?
No.
With your permission, its use would tend to remove its value after a period of time. In that degree, it is consumed in a subjective sense as far as an individual is
Yes.
concerned.
Thank you, John. Therefore, it isn't eaten, I take it. Is it made of wood?
Yes.
Does it hold anything?
Yes.
Does it hold something edible?
Sometimes.
Not the famous wooden horse. Is there anything entertaining about the product?
Yes.
Does it come in various colors?
Yes.
Would I buy it in a department store?
No. No.
Maybe not yours, but somebody.
I would think, again, with your permission, that we would, I think, tend to agree that we couldn't rule out department stores, only on the premise that nowadays department stores tend to sell everything. On that basis, we'll give you a qualified yes.
Uh-huh. Is it anything like a wooden bucket?
Is it anything like a wooden bucket?
No.
No, it's not anything like a wooden bucket.
All right.
That's 1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Randall.
Is it as big as a bread box?
Sometimes.
I have the funniest feeling it's a bread box, but I'm not going to answer. I might as well blow it. Is it a bread box?
No.
Oh!
2 down and 8 to go, Betty White.
Is this a product that is also used by some of your school contemporaries?
Yes.
Is this a product that you say sometimes it can be as big as a bread box? Would it normally be smaller?
No.
I was afraid you'd say that.
That's 3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Smith, can we rule out toys and games?
Yes.
We can. Is this something that might be bought in a stationery store?
No.
No. 4 down and 6 to go, Miss Francis.
Well, Mr. Smith, you said it can hold food.
Yes.
You did say that. And it is larger than a bread box, is that correct? And it is not the old oaken bucket. When one finds it inside, would one find it in a specific place in the house rather than just any old place at all?
Yes.
I would think so, yeah. It would tend to be in one area rather than any other.
Would it ever be near a desk?
No. Well,
It could be.
yeah.
It could be. Mm-hmm.
But it is not a waste paper basket.
No.
Yes,
I
it
can
is
rule
not
out
a waste paper basket, no.
When it holds something, it does hold something other than food if you want it to.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Could it hold a plant?
It could.
Yeah, it could. Mm-hmm.
But that's an unlikely story. Is there any material outside of wood in this product?
Yeah.
Is the other material metal?
No.
No. That's 5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Randall.
Does it ever hold anything living?
No, I don't think so. We've got to call a halt here somewhere. We'll call it right there. 6 down and 4 to go, Betty White.
Am I safe in assuming this would not be a product you would tend to carry around with you on your person?
No.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
Yes, you would not, no. Mm-hmm.
Is this, Arlene said it could be near a desk, but does that, may I rule out the kitchen area as not too likely a place for this product?
Mm-hmm.
It would be more likely to be found in the living area of the house, say the den or the living room.
Mm-hmm.
There is an entertainment factor about it. Would it be more useful at a party than if you didn't have guests?
What?
Would it be more useful at a party than if you didn't have guests?
I just make them up. You figure them out. If you were going to have this party, see, suppose we're going to have a party, would you be more likely to use this product at a party than if you weren't going to have guests come in the house that night?
You said it again.
Well, I did.
No, I don't think so. I don't think
I
that
knew I'd get a no, but
the fact of... Actually, Betty, I don't think guests per se have anything necessarily
You would
to
use
do.
it at either
That's right.
time.
Mr. Cerf, I'm going to give you one more minute.
Mr. Smith, is there any glass in this product?
No.
8 down
not
and
a
2 to go,
bookcase.
Miss Francis.
I just want to repeat something because I'm not too sure of the answer. Did you say that it was not a game or a toy of any kind
That's
earlier
right.
on,
Mhm.
right?
Yes. Mhm.
Could it hold clothes? Is it anything in the trunk family?
No.
9 down and 1 to go. Mr. Randall, no elephant in. Bennett, you
Is it
missed that. I said no elephant it.
I made believe I didn't hear you.
Oh, after that opener of yours?
He found it rather pachydermatic, I suppose.
Wow.
Tell me, is it generally found in the bedroom?
No.
No, that's 10 down. No more to go. And Mr. Smith, remembering the season, is a most welcome guest because he grows Christmas trees. He owns and operates 2 Christmas tree farms, growing 100,000 trees a year. Basically, he's a wholesaler of trees. Spends his summer tending them. Some of his colleagues at Cornell work with him. And then, of course, Christmas time is harvest time. Do you call it harvest? Do you harvest your crop
Yes, you do,
with
yeah.
Christmas
Right.
trees?
He really needles his friends.
He really needles. Oh, boy. But he sells about 5,000 trees, and that's, just in his own area.
That's
Which is pretty
great.
good. Just in his own area. Then I doubt that you need that college education, Mr. Smith. I'm glad you're getting
Thank
it,
you.
though, and thanks a lot. It's
Thank you
nice
very
to
much.
have you with us. We'll meet tonight's mystery guest in just a moment, but first, this message. And now the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery guest, and as you know, the panel's blindfolded for this particular part of the program. Blindfolds in place, panel?
Yes, sir.
Good. Will you enter mystery challenger and sign in, please? All right, panel, as you know, in this part of the program, 1 question at a time, in turn, moving clockwise. And we will begin with Tony Randall.
Sir or madam, is there anything seasonal about your appearance?
Yes?
Oh,
Oh, really?
wait a minute, we got to have a small conference here.
No?
We changed that on you, Tony. Sorry, that's 1 down and 9 to go. There is nothing seasonal. Miss White.
Well, from the audience reaction, I can tell you're a relative unknown. Are you in the entertainment field?
Yes?
Thank you.
Mr. Cerf.
Are you at present appearing in either a play, movie, or nightclub in the New York area?
No?
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Francis.
Despite that itsy bitsy, do you sing?
Yes?
Mr. Randall.
Well, I'll bet you don't sing bass. Are you a woman?
Yes?
Miss White.
Are you better known in television, say, than you would be on the Broadway stage?
No?
It's a hard one to answer, actually, but I would say probably yes. It would depend a good deal, on the individual who is making the judgment. I would say broadly yes. Mr. Cerf.
Have you ever had a television show, series, with your name involved in the title thereof?
Yes?
Miss Francis.
Is it Dinah Shore?
No?
3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Randall.
With your name in the title. Name in the title, The Jackie Gleason Show. I pass.
All right, Betty White.
Are you, as well as being a singer, are you also known as a comedian? Comedian? And like that?
No?
That's 4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Cerf.
No. Is this television show that you are starring in at present on the air? I don't mean at this particular moment. I mean, is it a current program?
No?
5 down and 5 to go, Miss Francis.
Are you a lady who had a series some time ago on the air?
Yes.
A singing series. Are you...
Mr. Randall?
Let's clarify that.
Oh.
Was it a musical series?
Yes.
Miss White?
Are you Patty Page?
No.
That's 6 down and 4 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Did you ever play either little girl or farm parts?
Little girl or farm parts. Did you ever play?
Hillbilly, I mean.
No.
No?
That makes it 7 down and 3 to go. Arlene Francis.
She never was a hillbilly. I'm just trying to... could I have a conference 1 minute,
Yes,
John?
you may have 30 seconds for a conference.
Was there a Polly Bergen show?
Oh, yes.
Are you by any chance Polly Bergen?
No.
That's 8 down and 2 to go, Tony Randall.
Margaret Truman?
No.
9 down and 1 to go, Betty White.
At the time that you had your show, would my husband be more likely to flip over you or my 17-year-old son?
That can't be answered yes or no, Betty.
That's what I thought. Would my son be more apt to go for your show?
What?
No.
That is 10 down and no more to go. And panel, it is a joy to introduce Miss Kate Smith. Just great.
You don't know how hard it was. Yeah, that's right.
You know how hard it was for us.
Kate, I would have sworn you never could have gotten it up there.
Priceless.
Oh, dear. With
How did
Christmas
you
coming
stay
up, what a
up
joy to
there,
have you
though?
here.
It's so nice to be here with all of you. I've admired you for so
You're
many
hurting my
years.
ears, Kate.
You know, memory goes back very far. Do you remember this would be 1940, going
That's not
down
too far back.
to the, well, I mean in career terms. I don't know whether you'd remember me, because I was just starting then. In 1940, you went down to the naval station at Norfolk, and
That I
Kate
did.
flew down on a Saturday night to give a concert on Sunday for the boys, and then there was no music, didn't show up, and
That's
still
right.
the concert went on. And
I did it without any music.
Yeah.
We
But
haven't
had
had
a wonderful
music tonight
time.
either, Kate. You wanted to give us a little concert?
We had a wonderful time down there.
We did indeed. And I don't see any reason why we shouldn't put it on the line that Kate's given some music, too, for Christmas time. Her newest album is How Great Thou Art. And I must say, I think nothing could happen nicer at Christmas than to have an album named How Great Thou Art by Kate Smith.
Yeah, but can't you say who put it out?
No, you say who
Oh,
put it
can
out.
I?
Yes, you can.
RCA Victor.
RCA Victor. Well,
The one
there
with
we
the
are.
little dog with the phonograph.
I'll have 2 new lines on my face later. Kate, thanks
God
so
bless
much.
you,
Wonderful
John.
to have you
It's
with
been
us.
a real pleasure to be with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I must say, panel, against great odds, I think you've done well, and I give you congratulations. We'll all be back after this word. Betty White and Tony Randall, thanks for being with us so near the Christmas season. And good night, Miss Arlene Francis.
Thank you, John. Good night, and you said you were going to tell me what Utboo means.
It's the name of an organization. Unhealthy to be unpleasant.
I agree with that entirely. Let's all join.
Good night, Betty. So nice to see you.
Thank you, Tony. Nice seeing you, and congratulations on Laugh Day, Bennett.
Thank you, Betty. And nice to having Kate Smith with us again. Good night, John.
It sure was. Second that. And good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being with us on What's My Line?
What's My Line is a CBS Television Network production in association with Mark Goodson and Bill Codman. Johnny Olson speaking. This program was pre-recorded.